much for watching us right now on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget to go check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. And
are we on live?
We are
It's
live.
not coming up on YouTube.
And we are also on the Instagram and the Twitter. Is it not showing up?
It's not showing that we're on.
Okay, why not? I'm connected to Facebook and YouTube. It says we're broadcasting.
There it is. Now it popped up finally.
Oh, there it goes. I saw it.
I guess it was a major delay.
Slight delay. Well, our power has been flickering lately. And I think also the internet was out earlier. Like it went down. I think that's happened twice today that I know of. We are in Texas where
What would that have to do with right now?
I'm just saying you could have internet issues because we're in Texas where there are heat wave issues. And we've been told that we can expect possible power outages. Who knows?
Yeah, well, we shouldn't have them where we're at.
I don't think so either.
Because we're by the fire station.
Yeah, that's our only saving grace, we think. Let me see. Write a post. You know what? This dumb internet.
Anyway.
You know what? Thank you. Finally get excited with me. Let's get it started.
You only get excited if you want to be
there. Hey.
Anyway.
You know what? I can't even with this new update on Facebook. It's a mess. I just can't. Girl. No.
What we got, sister?
All right. So, as always, we have a wide variety of movies to talk about today. All right. Here are your options in no particular order.
I don't care.
Do you want to just go that way and see what happens?
I don't even care.
We're just going to
where we're going.
We're going to go in order of the slides, random, and we'll see where it takes us. All right. Our first movie is the Peacock original film, They, Them, starring Kevin Bacon and an ensemble.
We're from Texas. It's called They, Them.
Oh, Lord. And that Kevin Bacon.
Or in reality, most people probably be like, They/them.
Oh, my gosh. There would be people that say
Which
that.
technically would be accurate for the type of film it is. So that title is kind of a metaphor of They, Them. They/them because it has a slasher element.
It's a slasher film.
So whether that was intentional or not, it's kind of a clever play. Why don't you tell us what this movie's about and who could be in this film?
Okay, so this stars a young man named Kevin Bacon. You may have heard of him before. I wonder if there are people who have never seen anything with Kevin Bacon. I bet younger people.
No, because he's done a lot of new stuff too with X-Men and
probably
numerous other things.
Okay, well, if you've never heard of this young man, he's very famoso. So this is a slasher film set in a gay conversion camp.
Which alone without the slasher would be terrifying.
Yeah, gay conversion camps. So one of those pray the gay away type places, which should be outlawed. Yes. And then add a slasher film on top of that.
And this is coming from a Jesus lady.
Well, because you know what? There's other ways to deal with.
I know.
Here's the thing.
There's nothing to deal with.
If the person wants to change and they're unhappy, that's a whole other issue.
Only if it's not because someone else is trying to make the change.
But if someone's trying to force you into something, that's where I have an issue. Because according to the religious scriptures I've read, our job as Christians is to give the message of love and then let it go from there. And the person decides on their own. You know?
What happened in our house? You just yell at me all the time.
That's because you don't listen.
I can't hear.
Anyway, then you add on top of this, Kevin Bacon and his wife are the ones running this camp. And everybody just seems sketchy and odd. And then killings start happening. And you're wondering what the heck is going on.
Were we wondering, though?
I was like, who is this?
I had kind of figured it out early on.
I was thinking it had to be.
But I thought it was too obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm like, to me, that was my thing. Is like, okay, it's going to be this person, but they can't be that person. So I'd kind of just started looking at other people.
Yes.
So I wasn't surprised when the reveal happened, but I was like, I was a little disappointed by the reveal because it was too obvious to me. But it won't be too obvious. It's not because of a bad filmmaking.
It wasn't obvious to me. So that's normal people.
I think I'm probably desensitized to the horror slasher genre. So I'm
really
not getting people that should be trusted. I will say I really dug this movie.
I did too.
It had the 80s slasher vibe of Friday the 13th and things like this. It's not overly graphic, gory. It's kind of like It's really kind of like the original Friday the 13th, which ironically had Kevin Bacon in it.
Yeah.
Which was the movie that kind of made him initially a big star. Not a big star from that, but one of his breakout roles. It's where it's not overly gory, but there's a lot of intense. But a lot of that stuff doesn't happen till like the second act.
Correct.
It's like the first half of the film is really just the conversion camp stuff,
which in itself is a horror.
Yeah, they could have taken the entire slasher element out, and it still would have been like, oh my god, this is a disturbing,
horrific
place. But I really like the way it was structured, so it builds up to the craziness, because you kind of start, when you go into a conversion camp story, you automatically think these people are going to be something wrong with those people. But it's set up to where you actually kind of like all those people. They're like, okay, they're understanding. They're just there to help them, and they're really trying to, but it's going to go somewhere, but it doesn't always go where you think it's going to go. And there is some fun twists. There was one twist coming that I didn't see coming.
Yes.
But I actually dug this movie, and I like that this movie is all about the empowerment of the LGBTQ plus. And if I left a letter out, I apologize. I can't keep up anymore. Community where but it's not shoved down your throat of, hey, you should do this, you do this. It's these all different varieties of them, and it's kind of empowering them to say, hey, be who you want to be. Nobody's there saying, it's not coming off like, hey, this is bad.
Right. And I think the whole title of the they them is there's one particular person who is like, they're like, go boys go this way, girls go this way, and the person's like, I'm in transition and my pronouns are they them, so I don't identify necessarily as straight boy or just a straight
I'm not going to get into that discussion because I have distinct feelings on this.
Yeah, so whatever. So ends up, I guess, technically sleeping in the boy it's weird, but the thing is that Kevin Bacon immediately did a good job of accepting the pronouns, and I have such a hard time with the they them. Because I'm just going to call you by your name.
Yeah, my whole issue.
It's difficult with. I don't do a good job with pronouns. Not to be rude, I just have to get it in my head.
I'm not against anybody doing whatever they want to do.
Do what you want to be.
I believe in everybody has the right to be their thing. Believe in who they are for real, to themselves. I have a hard time grasping the whole you're not a man or a woman, because scientifically you are one or the other, no matter what you feel or what you say. I'm not against somebody that's a man becoming a woman or woman becoming a man, the transitions and all that stuff. I'm all for that. It's the stuff when they're like, I'm neither.
Yeah.
That one I have really trouble accepting, just because that's not possible.
Yeah.
Just because you decide it doesn't make it a thing. But instead of having the argument with somebody about that,
go with it.
I just say, what is your name? And I will respect whatever their feelings are. I will call them by their name. Because it's just a personal belief of my best friend's gay. I'm not against any of that stuff. You have your religious beliefs, but you're not against people in general. And it's okay to not agree with something, but that doesn't mean you can be disrespectful.
Correct. And I like that, at least in the movie, everything's equally represented. Everyone is treated equally until we get to the whole conversion thing, which, Lord, if these are the things that happen to these conversion camps, we need to shut them down, because
they should have shut them down anyway, but yeah.
There's one where they send them to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is basically just rude to them and telling them all the reasons why the world's going to hate them. And I'm like, how is that helpful?
Well, I find it interesting, too. There's a couple of characters that are healed people that have been converted, but then you see the dark side of their lives, that even though they're in a heterosexual relationship, they're both still having to look at a man or a woman to get the other one aroused so they can have relations together. Yeah, so it's like you're converted, but you're not at all.
You're not really.
And it makes you wonder, was that part of the story of saying you can't really fully convert them? Or is it just trying to show some of the craziness of some of these characters that are doing crazy things?
I think they're just crazy people it's kind in this of both. Camp.
This is one of those movies that I think it's well represented, as you said, of all the different kinds of people and the things they go through. It's not glorifying the idea of conversion therapy. It's a horror film, first and foremost, about conversion therapy that just happens to have a slasher.
Yeah.
And the slasher element's connected to the whole thing. But again, I like that it was one that's not trying to force the ideal down your throat.
Yeah.
It's like it presents it to you as this is what it is. Here's who these people are. Here's what they go through. accept it or don't. You can be either side of these characters, but here's our story.
Yeah.
It's never, hey, heterosexual people are bad and things, which is what a lot of these films tend to do when you're focusing on this stuff. And that's the problem with all sides of most arguments.
Correct.
Whether it's Black Lives Matter or sexuality, is everybody picks a side and nobody can be in the middle. And sometimes you can be in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, you can not agree with homosexuality or transgender, whatever, but still be okay with the people that are going through that.
Correct. You know? Yeah, I mean, because I think at the core, for me, we were taught you have to love people.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
That's the thing. That would be a quote from late Jesus in the Bible.
That's what it should be.
Just like, love one another as I have loved you. And he's like, once you do that, then come talk to me. But we can't even get to that part.
The mentality of religion anyway is supposed to be
love and
God
acceptance.
Or Jesus is going to be the one that judges you at the end of the day, not people. But the people have taken upon themselves now to be the judgments for God, even if they weren't given that power, because they've taken the interpretation of what they want and used it for their fight.
For them and against everything else. Okay,
I know homosexual people that are hardcore devout Christians.
Correct.
They love Jesus. They love all this stuff. You know, that doesn't.
That's all good. That's all.
And whether you believe what they're doing is a sin or not is irrelevant to them as a person.
Correct.
Because that's not your business.
Correct. What? It's not my business what someone else does? Okay, now let me tell you a few things. Kevin Bacon's good in this movie. Kevin
Bacon's good in every movie.
He's good. Yeah. Okay, my favorite is going to be Austin Crute, who we know from the TV show.
Something about her mom.
The one with the mom. Call Your Mother. Yes, Call Your Mother with what's her name?
Kira
Sedgwick. It was a cute little
show.
Sadly,
I think it only got one season, but it was a funny show.
He was cute. He was the girlfriend, the daughter's roommate, and they were like best friends. And then this guy, Darwin DeFabro,
he's from Brazil.
He has the coolest, strangest facial features.
He's got that face that looks like he could be either gender.
Yes,
you know,
and
he's not playing a transgender in the movie. He's playing a guy. I believe, right?
Yeah, he's playing
like a
gay man.
Okay,
but he just has this look that is so cool.
And I think this is like his first U.S. film.
Yeah, because he's known for mostly Spanish or Portuguese things, but. He reminded me. Here's the thing I liked about. He reminded me of that girl. What was that movie?
Sleepaway Camp.
Yes, and then this takes place at a summer camp.
Right.
And there's this big scene where these two girls are sitting out by the lake, and I'm like, something's gonna jump out of this lake. He's right there. No, so I'm just like, it has all of that slasher element.
And what's funny about the Sleepaway Camp thing? If you've never seen it, I don't want to tell you the end, but there's a big twist ending that actually is very similar to the entire idea of this film.
This one.
And she doesn't remember any of the characters' names.
I don't. But see, this is his vibe. If you look at his photos,
yeah. I've now totally forgot. I have to look her up because you made me forget.
Sleepaway Camp. This guy's vibe and his look is like so distinctive and so like nothing else because his facial features are amazing.
Felissa Rose, that's her name. He looks like he could play a man or a woman.
Yes.
But he also looks very distinctively Spanish to me. Brazilian.
Correct. But also like
and
time
like a model.
Period.
And
or like a vampire. Like he's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, we said that. He said that guy looks like he's been around
not
for
in a bad
years.
way, in an awesome way. I love his look.
He's not old looking. He looks
You're
young.
awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah, he looks like he's probably lived thousands of years.
I love it. I love that look. His features are just so
so here's what I wanted to say is Felissa Rose, who played the little girl in Sleepaway Camp, is the main character with the big twist.
Yeah.
She never remembers the name of the movie or the actress's name. So anytime she references it, she does the final scene of the movie, which is this face thing. So I'm gonna make her do it for you. So she looks at me during the movie and she goes, "He looks just like he looks just like." And I instinctively know what she's talking about. I'm like, "Oh, you're talking about Sleepaway Camp," because that's how the movie ends with that face and it pauses.
Yeah,
and
she's got the knife. She's like,
If you've never seen Sleepaway Camp, you should watch all three of them.
Well, because that's also kind of
that's a very controversial ending.
It's somewhat kind of related to the theme of this movie.
It is. It's very much the same.
I love. Anyway, this movie's great, and it's on Peacock. So Peacock, but the paid version, correct? Or is it regular?
I assume it's on the paid version, but I don't know.
Okay,
because we have the paid version.
Sorry. Anyways, it's a really good movie.
The way Peacock works is it's one of those you can get for free.
Yeah,
and watch a lot of the content,
Really?
some with
Okay.
commercials. But then some of the movies that come on there, you have to have
You have
the
to have
actual
the
paid
paid
service. So I
version.
don't know about this one.
Yeah. Anyways,
It's really good.
it's a really good movie, and I think it's important for people.
And it's not really
to see.
scary for those of you that are worried about, oh, I don't like the scary, bloody movies. It's not really either of those. Even though it is, it's not. It's hard to explain.
I love it. Okay.
Check it out.
Check it. 1, 2. Oh, wrong way. Here we go. Next movie. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Or we want to talk about this?
I don't care. Pick one.
Let's go here.
Which one? Oh, for this? Okay.
Tell me about this.
All right.
This is you, Betty.
So this next movie is a movie called Hot Seat.
Okay.
Starring Kevin Dillon, the brother of Matt Dillon.
Oh yeah, he looks kind of like him.
Most people would know from Entourage. He was awesome in Entourage. He was. You remember Mark Wahlberg's friend that you used to see on Wahlberg as the big tall guy that was always wanting to be an actor or whatever?
Yes.
Kind of Jersey guy.
Yes.
That's who Kevin Dillon's character is in Entourage. He plays that guy. He was the one. He's like he auditioned for and didn't get the role, and they gave it to Kevin Dillon instead.
That's funny.
Anyway, the movie's Kevin Dillon and Mel Gibson and Shannon Doherty. Which I don't care. Anyway,
I didn't know she was even doing stuff. I thought
she barely did in this movie either.
Okay.
So it's a here's the thing. This movie's not good, but it's one of those movies that frustrated me because it has a really compelling thriller story that could have been amazing. The premise of the story is Kevin Dillon's character is like an IT type guy, but has a background where he had been in trouble as a hacker. And so he goes to work, and Mel Gibson's character is like this, I don't know if he's like a police or bomb specialist, investigator kind of thing. And his partner is the crab man from My Name is Earl. And
yeah.
That's just a throwaway.
No, I like him.
Anyway, so Kevin Dillon's character goes to work, and then he sits down.
Steeples.
Yeah, he sits down on his chair, and all of a sudden, over the intercom, a voice comes on that tells him there's a bomb in his chair.
Oh.
And you're going to hack into such and such, or I'm going to blow everybody up and blow you up, and there's other bombs, and I know you're a family, I'm going to kill them. So then it becomes basically him on the computer with the discussion of the mysterious person inside this building. And so Mel Gibson and his crabman partner are trying to investigate who's behind it all, but they think it's him because they're making it look like him.
Oh. And
he's got a strange family. So there's there's some big kind of twists and stuff that's not that hard to figure out. So it's like it had the ability to be a compelling thriller.
Yeah.
But it's filled with like right out the back gate, it's like really bad CGI. It felt like something might have been like an Asylum movie or a Sci-Fi Channel film. No. Not quite Asylum, but Sci-Fi Channel movie or a made-for-TV kind of thing. So it's like the first bomb that goes off is you could tell the bomb goes up and the actor kind of spins towards the camera, but it could tell it was CGI explosion. The CGI him spin. It was just really bad. A lot of the performances aren't great. Kevin Dillon is doing. I think he does a good job with what he has to work with. Mel Gibson is kind of hit and miss in it because like one minute he feels like he's just kind of going through the paces.
Yeah.
Another moments he feels like he's all in. So it's hard to figure out, the feeling because here's the thing about a lot of these kind of movies and after reading a lot of interviews and stories about these made for straight to video movies or whatever and how that industry works, it's interesting to allow you always wonder how did they get these stars?
Yeah.
Like Mel Gibson, you could say, okay, he does these movies because of the controversies he had and this and that. And he's been doing a lot of them lately.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot more lately.
But then you see another one that has an actor that isn't in that same room. Like, how'd you get Morgan Freeman or something in this movie? But it's interesting that, it's just, a lot of these are the cases that they sign on to these movies, and the movie they went to make is not the movie that ends up getting made and finishes or how it's released or what's behind it. And then there's some of them like Eric Roberts, I've told this story numerous times, who's like, I take a part if I think that part sounds compelling. I half the time have never watched the films.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take it. He goes, I don't read the rest of the script. I read my part, and I'm like, I like this guy. I want to shoot this film. Well, he goes, then I get paid and I leave.
And then some of them had mentioned when they read the script and they do the movie, what actually comes out is not what they thought they were doing.
And a lot of times they realize it halfway through, but you can't do anything about it like that. Like there's a popular, not popular, but an interview that Charlize Theron did about Aeon Flux. She goes, the movie that we were making and the movie that came out are not the same thing. She's like, that's not the movie I thought. And she goes, and we realized about halfway through, this is not the movie we were going to make. So you never know. That's not defending these movies. They're made on a very obviously lower budgets. Looking at the CGI, things like this, But at the same time, actors are actors. They need to work.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's they want to work because they enjoy it. There's some actors I've heard stories of like they don't care about the money. They have to work.
Yeah,
they want to act.
They just need to do something.
This is one of the movies that's not a horribly bad movie, but it's not a good movie either. It's most of the characters that are not Mel Gibson or Kevin Dillon are not very good. The performances, and it's hard to tell in this case because the dialogue is so bad. Is it the dialogue or is it the performances? And some of it's both.
Mm.
So it's also the kind of movie that if you're one of those that are fans of a lot of the straight-to-video action flick stuff, you'll probably love this movie too. The director is the same person who made Fortress. I forgot now. There's like a whole bunch of the ones with Bruce Willis straight-to-video kind of stuff. So decide for yourself. Check it out. Hot Seat. It's available now on Blu-ray, DVD. I just wanted to see it because Mel Gibson was in it. I like Mel Gibson despite I don't know if I would like him as a human being, but I like him as an actor. And I like Kevin Dillon. I hadn't seen him in a while, so I was like, hey. But right out of that first scene, I'm like, oh, we're going to watch this. So thankfully, there's not that many special effects in this movie. So check it out if you're interested.
It happens.
If you're not interested, then don't bother.
Yeah. You know what? We don't have to watch everything. Okay. Now let's go here because there is so much to say about this next movie, you guys.
All right. So the next one is called I Love My Dad. And it stars Patton Oswalt. And what is the guy's name? Let me go back and open it because I didn't have it. Sorry, I wasn't ready. James Morosini. James Morosini, who is also the writer, director, and star. It's based on his real life.
Guys, this is a true story.
It is. It's got Lil Rel Howery in it. I don't know most of these other people, but you want to tell everybody what's about? Without giving you any away.
This is the story of an estranged father and son. Mm-hmm. And the son deals with his dad never showing up for him his entire life. So it gets to the point where he completely blocks him out, doesn't take his phone calls, and just doesn't talk to him.
Blocks him on social media, everything.
So his dad creates a fake profile to catfish his son just to become friends with him. And craziness ensues.
And here's the thing is, ironically, I was just listening to Patton Oswalt on the wrap-up show. They're doing a summer school thing on the Howard 101.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of Gary and a bunch of people are in LA. So they've been interviewing a bunch of people this week.
That's fine.
And they're interviewing Patton Oswalt about this movie.
Guys, and this movie is...
He basically said a good description of his character, Patton Oswalt plays the dad, is he's that one guy that thinks that everything he does is right. Everything he does is really trying to do for the good. He's that guy that thinks he should get credit for trying to do the right thing. Like, I wanted to show up, so I should get credit for that, even though I didn't show up.
Correct.
And with that mentality, it makes him do everything wrong.
Everything goes wrong. And I'm just telling you need to understand this particular catfishing is like when you watch Catfish on TV. It's that kind of a catfish.
This really happened. This guy's
it gets a little disturbing.
Yeah, this guy's dad really did this. So we watched an interview with both of them because after we finished the movie, we're like, I want to know what their relationship if they haven't had one now. So we looked up a thing and found an interview with both of them talking about how it really happened. And
I mean, there are moments in this movie where it's very uncomfortable and a little bit disturbing. But you can tell the dad is uncomfortable, but it's one of those things where you tell the lie and then you tell the lie to tell the next lie, and it becomes this whole thing. And I can understand how people get catfish or the catfish people do it. And it was interesting.
Because in this case, he's not being malicious.
No, not at all.
He's trying to
just have a relationship.
Yeah, he's not only trying to have a relationship, but he's also realizes he's filling a void that his son has, and not just as a father-son, but in the relationship. Yeah, because the son's kind of awkward and alone, and he starts seeing how happy his son is, and so he keeps feeding into it. And meanwhile, there's people all around him that there's a couple people that know are telling him, you're doing the wrong thing. You got to stop this. But they don't realize how deep it's gone. And I'm telling you, it gets to the point of
it's disturbing.
Cyber sex mentality kind of thing. You don't see that necessarily, but
it's crazy.
It is, and it gets, as you threw it out there, and so I ended up writing a review, but it gets kind of Hitchcockian, where
it's very interesting in a way. I mean, in a way, it is extremely
it's
interesting. It is to get into the mind of some of these people, but separately, this came up in another show I was watching about somebody who's a catfisher, and she explained it as an addiction, where she's trying to just create relationships because she doesn't leave her house. She's not happy necessarily with her choices and what she's done, but she's doing it because she likes that feeling, that euphoric feeling of, you have a friend now. You've made a relationship. You're making someone happy. They're making you happy. And that's why she keeps doing it.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's this experience of the dad who's been completely cut off from his son. He's like, oh, I finally know who my son is. I know what he's doing. It makes him happy. And I'm happy because I'm getting to talk to him.
Well, and it's a very weird Roxanne Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah, but
however you say it.
Creepy.
Mentality, too, of how you can connect and understand how somebody be like, oh, they get me. I'm okay not seeing them right now, because then they want to hold on to that. They're okay not meeting them. And then, like, if you ever watch the show Catfish, it gets to the point sometimes like, well, why haven't you ever met them? I really liked what we have, and I'm afraid if we meet them, maybe they won't like me.
Correct.
It's like, it's not maybe I won't like them. It's maybe they won't like me, and then this will end. And I'd rather us just have what we have. And this one, it is a comedy, but it's a drama. And it's interesting. Going back to the interview I was just talking about with him, with Patton Oswalt, he talked about how it made it more cringeworthy when you make the normalcy stuff. If you try to not make it normal, like everything he did, he felt like he was doing something that was okay. That makes it more disturbing.
Correct.
And he goes, and when you try to take a moment where, he goes, if you notice in the film, when things are really uncomfortable and people are finding things out or mad or whatever, he's at that point trying to be funny, and it makes it even more cringeworthy.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing in life when something dark happens to somebody and somebody tries to crack a joke and it just falls on deaf ears and everybody's like, this is not the time.
Awkward.
But what makes it, that kind of makes that Hitchcockian thing we mentioned a second ago, was when things start to get discovered and when it starts getting into that heavier place, it starts playing this very heavy, dark music.
Yeah.
It turns it into almost a horror. It's not a horror film.
No, but
it's like, it blocks out their voices sometimes.
I liked it though. It was kind of dark and operatic, like an old school. It was very Hitchcocky.
Yeah.
And very dark. And it's a comedy, but I'm going to say this is like a dark comedy because it's out there, guys.
And it's meant to be cringe inducing. But not the way. I'm like, but again, not because they tried to make a cringeworthy movie. It's like the realistic nature of what happens makes it cringeworthy.
Yeah.
And then I think I mentioned in my reviews, like there's elements like you kind of understand Patton Oswalt's character and you fill with him and you're like, okay, I understand what you're doing. He's going to rebuild the thing. But then every time he does that next thing, you slowly like, no, stop doing that.
It's like, just stop talking.
You're in, okay, now stop there. And build on this, and okay, we know you did something bad, but now you can build something good. No, you're doing something bad again.
He knows he's doing something wrong, but like you said, he feels he's doing it for the right reason.
And I don't think he thinks he's doing anything wrong anymore. I think he thinks he's doing good because, again, he thinks he's building his son's relationship, and he's building a relationship with his son.
Correct.
And he thinks he's not looking at what's going to happen at the end. He's looking at the now, and then especially when they start reconnecting in real life too.
The crazy thing about this is that it's a true story. That's where I'm like, whoa. And at the beginning of the movie, the kid narrates, he's like, this is a true story. My dad doesn't want me to tell you this story. Because I'm like, I wouldn't either. This is so...
Actually, he says, my dad doesn't want me to tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But
and the final scene of the movie is
so
awesome.
Cool and upsetting.
And it's such an exclamation point and a slap, like a revenge slap, but also probably the most uplifting moment of the entire film too.
Yeah.
It's heavy, it's dark, but it's uplifting at the same moment because you can see light at the end of the tunnel in a very dark and what the hell just.
That was a very rear window shot too.
Yeah, that's why we had to go look at the interview because that ending we weren't sure what we were supposed to understand.
What?
We deciphered like is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? So we had to go look, and I'm not going to tell you, but we had to go see what is their relationship now to make us really understand.
You need to watch this movie. That's all I got to tell you.
It's making the rounds. It's apparently winning a bunch of awards and festivals. They said this is being Patton Oswalt classified this as a, what did he say, a hallway movie. And they call it a hallway movie because when you come out of the theater, you're like, what the hell did we just watch? And talk about it and create conversation. Whereas, there's some movies we come out of, we don't even mention it. We just walk to the car.
Yeah.
And there's other times you walk there like, did that guy just such and such and whatever? And,
It's one of these. This one will keep you talking
but it's
for a
good.
while.
It's not
it's really
gross
good.
or anything like that. I mean, I guess depending on how you look at it. But it's not visually
no, it's
gross.
Not.
And big props to Patton Oswalt because he had to go all in for a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
Like some physicality stuff that's just, it's even more cringe-inducing because
it is.
And it didn't really happen, but it's
I think that's what made the movie really come together at the end.
Because you're seeing what that guy envisions and it makes it grosser.
Yes, oh my gosh, I just vomit everywhere.
Anyway, I really dug. I didn't really think I was going to like this movie.
Yeah.
When I first saw a bunch of stuff about it, I was like, eh. And then when I saw what the story was about, I love Patton Oswalt, so it was my only thing that kept me intrigued. And then seeing what the story's about, I was like, okay, this is true. I need to kind of. But I honestly thought it was going to be more of a punchy comedy, like silly, goofy, and weird. Comedy. But I didn't realize it was going to get all dark like this.
Yeah, but it's a good movie. I love my dad. Check it out, based on a true story.
It is available in limited release, I think, on theaters and on demand. So check it out.
Yep,
I love my dad.
All right, now
and I do in fact love my dad.
I love my dad too. Okay, let's go here. Tell me about the. Oh, I watched this too.
Yeah, you watch this.
All right. This is the what anniversary is this? I can't see that far. This is the 4K Ultra release of the movie Heat.
Heat, which is the movie came out in 1995. It is probably because one of those considered like the ultimate heist type flick. It's directed by Michael Mann. It stars Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, Ashley Judd, Natalie Portman, John Voight. There's like a plethora of other people that show up too that I know I'm not adding in here, but you had never seen this, right?
I had not seen this, surprisingly, but it was also 1995. So I had, I graduated high school in 94. Still wasn't into movies back in the day.
This is one of those that I didn't see when it came out. I saw it years later, and I don't know. I remember liking the movie, but I've never revisited. This is my first time revisiting it probably since 97-ish, 98, when I saw it. After that, it may have been VHS or something. I'm assuming that's when maybe I watched it on cable. I don't know. So I don't know the difference between, this is the director's definitive edition, so I don't know if that means there's more sequences. I don't know if it's cut a different way. I don't know. I know the movie's almost 3 hours long, but I think it's always been almost 3 hours long.
Oh, that was the only thing that I think I didn't really like about it, is it got long on, and it felt long, unfortunately.
Well, in our defense, we also had to pause it a bunch of times, and we were working at the same time.
2 hours and 50 minutes.
We were working at the time, and so I know. And today it probably took us longer than 3 hours to watch.
But today, heist movies are not this long.
Well, most movies are over 2 hours now, so
it's something, but not 250.
2 to 2.5 has now become the norm, which is crazy, because it's now if you get a movie it's like an hour and a half, you're like, what?
Well, the cool thing about this is we get some great monologues from Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and both of them have crazy lives.
I personally think that one scene of them sitting at the table having coffee together is one of the best. It's one of the best scenes
ever. But I liked it separately, even though one's the good guy, one's the bad guy. It's separately. Neither one of their lives are what they thought it would be. No. And when they sit down to have that coffee thing, he's like, hey, you got a family, you got this, and what do you got a family, you got what's that? So they realize they're more alike than different.
Well, and it
just so happens one robs Banks.
It's ironic too, because in this case, Al Pacino, even though he's the good guy, he's crazier than the bad guy, and Robert De Niro is very calm and collected and cool, but he's got that sinister look in his eye. This is like these two guys at their prime outside of like Godfather stuff. You know?
So good.
And I believe this was the first movie that we got to see them together. Like they were both in Godfather 2, but they weren't in scenes together. So I don't remember if that. So if I'm wrong, correct me. Feel free. Mm-hmm. But I want to say I remember reading the whole thing about this being a big deal because this was the first time they were in a movie together, but they were actually in scenes together.
Yes.
And so everybody was up in arms because these are two of the greatest actors of all time.
Yeah.
Being in the same place.
And that's like when you go look at this, the movie quotes from that scene where they're having coffee.
Yeah.
Where he's the cop and he's like, man, my life is a disaster. My wife doesn't like me. My daughter's got problems. And the other one's like, if you're not willing to just walk away, you shouldn't have them in your life.
Right.
And he's like, you need to leave the wife behind.
So my big discovery was there's sound clips from Howard Stern they've been using. This one of Al Pacino going, she's got a great ass, which I didn't know was from this movie. Because they play so many from what is it, Sin of a Woman? Is that the Al Pacino movie? They do a lot of clips from that movie, and they do a lot of Robert De Niro from Cape Fear. So I guess in my mind I assumed that was from that same thing, never known it. I looked down while we were watching the movie, and I heard the line. I'm like,
that's what this is
from.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? It was also good to see a young Val Kilmer, knowing now that he's not well. But so that was cool. I mean, it's a good movie.
It's an excellent movie.
It's a great movie. It's just a little long for me.
Yeah.
But
I like the fact that not only it's long, but it's because, in my opinion, it works because it's long, because it's given time to put out.
Yeah.
Yes, there's stuff that can be trimmed, but it's giving time to build. So we have, didn't have to rush the first heist. Then you have time to build to the investigation and what's going on, and build all these characters up. So you actually start caring about some of them. Then you have the next big heist, and it gives time for that to play out. And then you have the betrayals, and you have a young Danny Trejo, and
yes, there's so many good people in this movie.
Yeah, so I really like this movie. I'm glad we got the re-experience it together.
Yes, thanks. Babe.
But it's available now on 4K by 20th Century Studios. It's actually put out by Disney.
That's random.
And it was also released. You don't know this. Michael Mann put out a novel called basically Heat 2.
Oh.
And he's been talking about making the movie, and I don't know if it follows Al Pacino's character or what the story is. But this came out this week at the same time the novel came out. So a lot of people were posting online having the 4K and the novel together.
That's cool.
And people are saying the novel's great. So I know Michael Mann has said he wants to make Heat 2, but I don't know the context of the story, if it's just another story about bank robberies or if it's any of the same characters. There's some of them they can bring back, some of them you can't. So who knows?
We'll see.
But Heat is available now on 4K and Blu-ray and digital.
There you go.
Yeah, so you go buy that.
All right, next.
Is that the last one already?
This is the last one, my friend.
All right. Yeah, we didn't have any theatrical releases this week. We went all streaming and Blu-rays.
All right, so this is the new Netflix movie of the week, actually. It's Day Shift, starring
Jaime Fox.
And
Dave Franco. And Snoop, D-O-double-G.
And
who?
And the lady from our TV show. From our Home Economics.
I don't have her name on here. I don't know why. Megan Good is in this. Steve Howie from Shameless, and I believe he was on Reba. Scott Adkins. Carla, what is it? Souza.
Yes.
From
Home Economics. Love her.
But of course, Scott Adkins. I've been waiting for this movie.
That's the only reason you really want to watch it.
I've known about this movie for a long time. I've been waiting for this movie.
I just watch it because it's about vampires.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's a movie about vampires.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Basically, the premise is Jamie Foxx is a pool cleaner / vampire hunter. And so they're dealing with it's almost like John Wick meets vampires.
Correct.
Because it's got a whole underground union thing that they're vampire hunters and they sell the fangs and there's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's very John
Wick, but with the world of vampires.
Yeah, because there are rules to vampire hunting. In case you didn't know.
And the guy that directed J.J. Perry, this is his directorial debut. But he was a stuntman coordinator, whatever you want to call it. But he worked on John Wick. He worked on The Expendables. He worked on the new movie Samaritan, the new Stallone movie coming up.
Nice.
So this is his directorial, and you can tell because the action sequences in this movie are badass.
Yeah, it's really good. For people are like, oh, it's just a Netflix movie, but this is an awesome movie. It should have been in a big theater.
Well, I agree, it should have, and I think I said that, but it is kind of a B movie in context, but it's a B movie in the best possible way.
Yeah,
it's not cheap or horrible. It's a little really cheese good. At times.
Yes,
but it's action packed. It's gritty. It's fun to watch.
It's funny at times, and it's emotional. Snoop Dogg is awesome.
Dave Franco is awesome.
I was going to say, Dave Franco is my favorite in this whole thing.
He is so good in this movie because he plays the
kind of
a liaison office worker guy.
He's
from the
the
union.
straight guy from the union that follows him around. It's like you're writing down all the codes that he's breaking, keeping track. And then, of course, he gets kind of thrust into the middle. And so you see in the poster, Jamie Foxx puts this neck brace. He's like, why am I having this? So they won't bite you in the neck.
Yeah, that little metal plates on the neck brace.
Like,
but there's some clever little gadgets and stuff. And Snoop Dogg plays Big John. He's like a cowboy. Snoop Dogg looks like he's having a blast.
I think he's awesome.
He's not in the movie the whole time. He's at the beginning and then he shows up at the end, but he has some big moments.
Mm-hmm. He's good.
And to my honest surprise, when I found out Scott Adkins was in this movie, I really thought he was going to either play a vampire or play like a throwaway character.
Mm.
And him and Steve Howie are only in the movie for one sequence.
Yeah, but
it is the most badass action sequence of probably the whole movie. They play the Nazarian brothers. And there's already
they need their own movie.
People say they need their own spin-off movie of these two guys.
There's that one thing where he's like, throw me a bullet. And I'm like, really? And he does this cool, like, big 180 upside down kick, holds the gun open, grabs the bullet, and shoots the guy. I'm like, really? And you're like, it's possible.
I believe it if it's Scott Adkins.
But his kicking's amazing.
He is. He's an amazing martial
artist. It's amazing. Anyways.
But here's the thing. I know that sequence is unbelievable.
No.
But once you bring in the supernatural, and we're going off the rails of vampires.
But vampires could be real.
Vampires and everything else.
They live among us.
I'm willing to buy into some nonsense to fight them.
I guess so.
I
know.
And I like that Steve Howie's character is kind of the...
Oh, they like Snoop, the thing with the bullet. Yeah. See, I'm telling you, it's crazy.
No, it really happens.
Okay, it really happens.
I did that just a minute ago, but with a green bean.
You hate green beans.
I know, that's why I threw it.
Anyway,
I caught it in the trash can.
The movie's amazing.
But no, it's bloody. It's fun. I love that they create a whole other different types of vampires.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are different types of vampires.
I know, but I mean, in this one, they made their own different. Okay.
What is this?
Mrs. Vampire needs to start knowing the names of all this stuff.
I'm asking you, what is
this? It's a Nosferatu.
Very good.
Don't ask me like you didn't even know. You'd be all
no,
like,
I was telling you. And they have the things here, and then you have the things
anyway.
Here. Hello.
And they create their own world of vampires
and
different things and how to kill things and what they do. And let me tell you, they probably hired every contortionist.
I know, that's what I was saying. Like, okay, how many contortionists can we get? Or it might have been the same one, just in different makeup. But oh my gosh, these people had like their legs all on top of them, were crawling crazy.
But that's what made it even cooler because the vampires
cool.
The vampires are doing crazy stuff. Excuse me. There weren't any vampires in the movie that were just kind of throwaway cheap. They all felt like they might be a threat. Even if somebody easily killed one, like the way they moved or the way they did something, but
yeah. So there were Eastern, Southern, Spider, Uber, and something else. Yes, of the different vampire clans that were present. So yeah, it's crazy.
The thing with the bullet was amazing.
Okay, well, it was a really good movie, and it's on Netflix, guys. So you need to go watch this right now.
And if you don't want to watch the whole movie, just fast forward to the part where you see Scott Adkins and Steve Howie,
or forward to the part where you see Snoop Dogg.
I love Snoop Dogg, but
I like Snoop Dogg
Scott Adkins is top tier.
Okay, well,
anyway,
I would pick actually James Franco.
If Netflix is really going to start a franchise of anything, this would be it.
Yeah.
Because I know they're doing Extraction 2. I know they're doing The Old Guard 2. I know they're doing Enola Holmes 2. This movie is screaming
part 2
sequels because there's a sequence at the end that sets up some new things, kind of, or unexpected things. There's a whole new variation of the group that works together at the end of the movie. Then you have the Nazarian brothers. You can bring other hunters in and do different spin-offs. There's so many different elements you can do with this. I know they were trying to do a franchise with Day of the Dead, which we never did go watch that prequel.
What?
Not Day of the Dead. Or maybe it is Day of the Dead. I have to go look. The one with Batista. Remember where they're in Vegas fighting all those vampires?
Yes.
There's that prequel they did, which was following that blonde German guy.
The funny guy.
Yeah. There's a prequel that
we need to go watch it. Let's go watch it. I'm all about the vampires.
It's on Netflix now. Day shift. Check it out. It's awesome.
I'm team vampire. You're team werewolf. Whatever.
Movie's still awesome.
It's really good. Okay. Next. Tell me what's coming out over there.
All right. I'm going by a new list today, so there's a little more of a plethora.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Child's Play 1, 2, and 3 are getting the 4K release through Shout Factory.
Shout.
Red Dawn's getting a 4K release, the original.
Nice. Oh, Wolverine.
Thank you. Jurassic World is the director's cut.
I'm just doing something
extended edition. Jurassic World Dominion is coming out, 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, and whatnot.
Okay.
The Black Phone is coming out this week. It is actually already on Peacock.
Peacock and
or is it? Yeah, it's on Peacock, I believe.
It's so good. You need to watch it.
It is excellent.
Don't get scared. Watch it.
Then I believe like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is getting the 4K treatment. Let me see. If you're into South Park, the complete season 24 is getting released. And here's the difference between this one and the other seasons. This is, to my knowledge, the first season that's 2 episodes, but it's 2 hour-long or maybe a little over hour-long specials. It's the pandemic special and the vaccination special that they did, which is really funny because they talk about how they had, who caused the pandemic and all the different stuff, and it was had to do with Stan's dad.
My mom is still like, it was man-made. You know, they were trying to take us out.
She said what?
That the pandemic and the virus was man-made. And
who knows that's your mom?
My mom.
Your mom believes all that?
Yes. I was like,
why would they? I would be fine believing that if someone could explain me why. What would be the end thing to wipe us all out?
I don't know.
Because you wipe us all out, there's nothing there to take.
Boo.
Anyway.
You know what? You're asking questions of a sane person. That's to an insane person. I don't know.
This is true. Also, what was I just saying? They also did, if you don't know, on Paramount Plus, they also did a COVID and COVID return specials and the Streaming Wars specials. But in the Streaming Wars specials, it's not about streaming. It's about these streams, and they're fighting over the streams.
Literal streams.
But the metaphors are all about the streaming TV services. So it's the COVID is time traveling and who's caused it and who's curing it and coming back, and it's pretty funny. It's sadly too close to home. A movie called Baby Assassins, which is the new Well Go USA movie, is coming out next week. So I'll be talking about that. I guess if you watch it, we'll both talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that's most of it. The rest of the stuff is a lot of either re-releases or the latest entry in the Sniper franchise, which I'm not sure how that keeps going.
Wow. Okay.
But that's pretty much it right now.
Okay. Today is the 14th. So coming out this Tuesday to Video Demand and Digital is a movie called Sharp Stick, starring Christine Rosseth.
This is Shark Stick. I was like,
Jennifer Jason Leigh. This is the one about the girl whose sister is like an influencer, and so she just has this crazy concept of what real life is, and she begins an affair with an older man, and it goes crazy because it's also her employer, and just craziness had happened. So that's if you're interested. Okay. Then coming out on Wednesday, it's a Wednesday release, the new TV series She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, is coming to Disney Plus. So make sure you check that out. It's really good.
We will be talking about the first few episodes next week because we've actually seen the first 4 episodes. We just can't technically talk about it yet.
Okay. Then coming out also on Wednesday, it's a Wednesday release this time. There's a new Netflix movie called Look Both Ways. It's the story of a young girl who, it's one of those where it tells parallel stories where if she does this happens with her life. If she does this
like
happens.
A choose your own adventure kind
so
of thing.
It's kind of telling her life in parallel stories. So it's interesting, I think. If, I don't know that we're the main audience for the movie, but it's out there.
Not the audience.
Okay, coming out to Friday. Let me start from the bottom up because I like to work my way up to the big thing. Okay. New York. Okay, coming out on Video Demand and Digital is a movie called Spin Me Round. It's about round. It's about a guy who works at an Italian restaurant, and he decides to go to Italy for a full immersion program, and romance ensues. Ooh. There you go. Coming out to Paramount Plus. We are watching.
Is that going to be on Paramount Plus?
Yes,
we have to watch the original.
We have to go watch the first one and watch this one. So a few years ago, there was this movie called Orphan. It was the kind of a creepy thriller horror series movie about the little girl who gets adopted, but then it looks like maybe
there's more than meets the eye.
She's in love with the dad. It's kind of creepy and weird, and craziness ensues, and then you find out things and you're like, oh. So it's a kind of a scary, creepy movie. Okay, well, now coming out this week on Friday to Paramount Plus is the prequel called Orphan First Kill. So I'm assuming it's still following the little girl. It says Esther's terrifying saga continues, but this time in a prequel to the hit horror movie Orphan. We are going to watch this and we're going to love it.
I don't know if we'll love it, but we're going to watch it.
Okay, coming to video demand and digital is a movie called Bulletproof, starring Vinnie Jones. I don't even know. It's a movie about bounty hunter and people getting shot. That's all I need to know. It's Vinnie Jones. So that's all you need to know.
Football player?
Really? Yeah. And then the big theatrical release for
football, not football.
The
soccer.
Yeah, real football. Okay, then coming out the big movie for the theaters is a movie called Beast. It's the Idris Elba movie, the one where you see in the trailer he's fighting like this super gigantic lion. That's
I don't think he's fighting a super. I think it's a normal size lion.
It's a super gigantic lion that has gone evil, like lion on drugs.
I don't think that's any of the story. I think it's just a normal lion that just happened to be. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's probably a lion just got a taste of blood. And
maybe. He looks crazy. I mean, when you see it, like that lion's head is the entire car door in that.
Because that's how big a lion is.
Is it? I'm so scared.
How big do you think lions are? Like the size of Sabine?
I guess. I'm just. Oh my gosh, that movie! I'm scared. I'm more scared to watch that than Orphan.
Because of the realist nature of a lion eating you. Because you've been in a lot of situations where
I'm
a lion
just telling you, don't go anywhere to the wilds of South Africa.
This comes from the woman who has a picture of herself sitting next to a live tiger.
Oh my gosh, that was so. It was so scary. It was so scary.
If you haven't, we have to see if we can find it and share it on our Facebook page for this. Because it's funny. So we were in Thailand. If you haven't ever heard the story. And we got to go to a tiger sanctuary, and they're like, "You want pet tiger?
You want pet tiger?"
And before she could say what, I'm like, "Absolutely."
Well, the lady's like, "You want a pet baby tiger?" And she shows us a picture of her like cuddling baby tiger. So it reminded us when we took the kids to go see the liger.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
If you don't know me, I like touching things.
Oh gosh, he'll touch all the animals, which is very dangerous.
So then we get there. She goes, "Do you want to touch the small one or the big one?" And I'm like, I want the big one. And she's like,
okay.
So we have all these photos. What you don't see in the photos is there's like 4 to 5 tigers in this area. They're roaming free. They're not like drugged or anything. Like you hear a lot of stories where they're just kind of like this. So that's why they're saying these guys are running around and they're fighting with each other. And there's about 5 handlers in there with us that are like holding them off with like little thin fishing lines. Like one of them, some of the pictures she's going to post is we're sitting on like a bench right next to this tiger with her hand on it. And what you can't see on this off camera is this guy with a stick treating it like it's a normal little home cat.
I'm going to post this one and be standing so you can see how big this tiger is.
It's like a little home, like you play with your cat with a little feather on the end of the stick. He's got a Beanie Baby, I think it was, on the end of his stick, and he's dangling it to keep its attention. I'm like, the only thing keeping us alive is a Beanie Baby.
Oh my gosh, this was so scary.
Are you actually posting that photo?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the photo. Hold on, let me share the screen. Because guys, this was scary. Let me post it big.
This is us in Thailand. We're both holding.
It was scary because they're like, okay, you have to take off your shoes and socks. You have to wash your feet so they don't smell any human on you. Basically, they don't want any outside smells to trigger them to attack you. And so, yeah, you don't see on the other side or around you, there's like this guy here holding the Beanie Baby thing. There's a guy taking the picture. There's a guy over here.
The best one was when we were, there's another photo we have that you don't have to dig it out, but where we're like leaning over like this pool of water. And I'm like holding the tiger's tail, and she's on the tiger's laying in the water cooling off. Well, what you don't get to see is a tiger like kind of snuck up behind us, and it started running at us, and the guy behind us turned around and was like, hey, scared it off. And we're both just like,
no, well, when they were taking your pictures, I was standing behind the guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pushing him.
And what you don't see in this is at one point she's doing the same photo, she's sitting next to it, and the tiger kind of goes, so that she's like, there's a photo. We actually have a photo of her going, because it kind of growled.
No, that thing is scary. Look how big it is. Like I'm standing, and it's like this tall to me.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's why this Idris Elba movie. No, thank you.
That was all a tangent from Idris Elba.
And no, thank you.
We'll keep that and share it again next week.
Okay.
All right.
Stressful.
Also, what I do want to tell everybody, because I want to start promoting it now, because I'm a huge fan of Kevin Smith.
Yes.
If you don't know, then you're probably not as big as Kevin Smith. If you're a fan of Kevin Smith, you probably already know about this. But he has Clerks 3 coming out. And like his last few films, he's doing it as a Fathom Events tour. So it's coming to different cities and whatever. And it's going to be September 13th and 15th.
Nice.
And so you go over to fathomevents.com, look up Clerks 3. I think it's fathomevents.com/events/Clerks 3. And you can buy your tickets. And it's usually like the price of a normal theater ticket or something. You just have to have a special Fathom Events ticket. But we'll be talking about this movie. Thankfully, we've had the joy of already seeing the film. And I'm a massive, you'll hear me gush over Kevin Smith when we get to be able to talk this, but it's not till September. So we have a few weeks before we can actually talk about it. But I will just say this. If you're a fan of Clerks, you will want to see this movie and bring your tissues. Because it's funny, it's hilarious, it's sad, it's emotional, it's heavy. It's everything you want from a Clerks movie. And you can tell Kevin Smith poured his heart into it.
Correct.
So anyway, go to Fathom Events and go see it at the big screen. That's what I wanted to do. And I just got lucky and got to see it early. So
there you go. All right, tell us about the contest.
The contest, we finally have some new stuff up here. And did you put up 2 of them or just 1?
I did 2. I did exactly what was there.
That's fine. So first up, we still have copies of Baby Assassins and a couple of Edge of Tomorrow on 4K. Baby Assassins we'll be talking about next week. So once we talk about it, you can hear more about that. Then we're going to have we have digital copy, a single digital copy of Jurassic World Dominion to give away. So remember what I said, digital copy. You're not getting a physical DVD. You'll get the code for Movies Anywhere to add to your Movies Anywhere account. And then we still have copies of Aquaman, King of Atlantis. What else do we have? And confusion is abound. Why do we have Jurassic World again? Well, that's because I also, not only do I have a digital copy, but I also have 1 single Blu-ray copy to give away. So there's 2 separate contests because I had to set up 2 separate contests for different PR people. So that's how this works. I know hey, you could just do this. No, it's 2 different people that had to go. Same company, 2 different people. Anyway, so it is 2 separate. So if you want to enter one of them, if you enter the digital one, you're only going to be entered in the digital one. So if you are more than welcome to enter both.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going to win what, but we got 1 copy of that. And then also the Green Lantern, Beware My... What is it?
Beware my power.
I almost said Beware My Might.
The power of the ring.
That sounds like it should have been Beware My Might. Green Lantern's light. But anyway, so that's what we have to give away. So hopefully I have a couple more come up here pretty soon. But
that's it.
That's it for now.
All right. Well, that's today's show. Thank you so much for watching Hollywood Matrimony live on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And find us on the Instagram, Twitter. Go like, thumbs, hearts, bubbles, whatever. Just share it and tell everyone you know. And we will see you next week.
And come check it out tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I just want to go to the website.
Oh, go to the website tomorrow.
Join us next Sunday for a new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. I have no idea what we'll talk about, but it'll be something awesome.
Bye.